Well, kia ora and good afternoon, everybody. It is great to be here to officially open the Jack Fagen room, the extension of the museum. And I just want to acknowledge everyone who is here, who has been involved with this project. So, John, thank you for your words, for your excellent speech, and for the work that you and your committee have undertaken here. And I just want to acknowledge the board of the NZRL who are here, the life members and former Kiwis who are here. Acknowledge Alex as the CEO, but I especially want to acknowledge the families of Brian Reedy and Jack Fagen. I know this will be a very poignant day for you all. I know that Brian and Jack actually didn't pass away that long ago, so your feelings will be still very raw. So I hope that this day and this acknowledgement of your husbands, grandfathers, father's contribution to the New Zealand Rugby League and the game in New Zealand goes some way to just helping you come to terms with what I'm sure has been quite a difficult year. Both these men, Brian Reedy and Jack Fagen, made a huge contribution to the game on the field. Both were Kiwis in the 60s and played 17 tests or so, round about that, and many more games on tour. But what is apparent is it's their contribution beyond what they did on the field that really has had a much wider impact on the game of rugby league. So you as family members, especially the younger ones, you should be really proud of what your grandfathers achieved. And I think it's very fitting that this acknowledgement is being made today. I just also want to acknowledge Sir Peter Leitch. So Peter said to me, make sure you tell the NZRL that I want to be invited to this thing. And I forgot to make that phone call. And I thought, geez, I hope they've actually gone along, because I'll be in deep trouble if he's not here. But of course, the NZRL wouldn't be doing anything without Sir Peter here. So just want to acknowledge his contribution to not only the game in New Zealand and the work that he does with the Warriors, but a whole range of wider causes that he gets involved in. So, Sir Peter, I'm relieved you're here, because otherwise I think I would have been in big trouble. John mentioned actually that I had an ancestor who played for the Kiwis, so a guy called Stan Walters, and there's a bit of a family story about that. And so I was really pleased to come to the museum because I want to find out a bit more about him. But he was my grandma's cousin, and my grandmother was very excited because her cousin Stan, he played 8 tests between 1913 and 1921, so that's not a lot of tests, but you've got to remember there was the First World War in the middle of it. And he ended up actually captaining the Kiwis against Great Britain at the end. So my grandmother was very excited because she was going to be going to the Auckland Domain to see her cousin play. And I'm not sure what test of the 8 it actually was, but she was so excited she invited her boyfriend at the time to come along and watch the test match. And so it's a huge family event, everyone goes along. Well, things were going quite well until an opposition player, and I'm presuming it was a Great Britain guy, because he played most of his tests against them, ended up unconscious on the floor of the Domain. The ref turned around and Stan Walters was being marched back to the dressing room not to appear again. So this is obviously a huge family disgrace and a major embarrassment. But fortunately, the boyfriend stayed around and he became my grandfather, and so as a result I'm here, so sending off the Domain and bringing the family story to an end. But museums and history are really important, and John said quite rightly that this game has been part of the social fabric of New Zealand. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of younger New Zealanders probably think that the history of rugby league started with the NRL, and because that's all they've ever seen on television. But if you look at the history of this game, it really parallels a whole lot of changes in New Zealand over a long time. And I think it's very important to know the history of our major sporting codes. And in the days when 40,000 people used to go to Carlaw Park, and before that the Auckland Domain to see the Kiwis, and what the game actually brought to a lot of working people, I think it's very important that that history is understood. So I'm very pleased that you're getting young kids coming through the museum. Next year is going to be a great opportunity actually, because we've got the Rugby League World Cup here in New Zealand, and we're expecting 6,000 people to visit here from overseas. So I think it's really important that we promote this museum and we get a lot of Brits and Australians, maybe even a few French, a lot of people from the islands coming through the museum here to see the history of the game in New Zealand. The final thing is the New Zealand Rugby League is doing a great job in terms of what's happening off the field. So they're involved with a lot of programs which are really important to the government, and Rugby League has a reach into communities that actually governments struggle to actually make. So as Minister of Sport, I'm very supportive of the work that the NZRL is doing through programs such as More Than a Game, because we can achieve great change for our young people through sport, and Rugby League is one of the key sports, and really making sure that we turn out great young New Zealanders. So it really is a pleasure to be here today. I think that everyone who gets to see this museum will get a lot out of it, and I really hope, especially for the families, but especially for the grandchildren, that this is really a day that means a lot to you. So thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.